Have you or a loved one been charged or accused of a crime? If so, the stress can leave anyone feeling helpless and alone. But you don't have to be alone. Hi, I'm Dave Maldonado, and I've successfully defended Montanans for over a decade in these situations. So if you're tired of being scared, let's get you prepared. To see how, visit BigSkyDefender.com today.
You are not alone. Visit BigSkyDefender.com to find out more on how you can fight back against local and federal criminal charges.
Tuesdays with Tootell, except we're on a Wednesday because I've been sick and here we are. But you trimmed your beard. You look great. How you doing?
Doing great. You know, sometimes it's just the hassle of shaving is less than the hassle of not shaving. So this would, like I crossed some threshold. So we had to take the weed whacker to her. And God almighty, I'm a good looking person. So this is nice.
Yes, you are. Well,
yeah.
Take us through the night game in Missoula on Saturday. Then, yeah, you helped us out with our college game day, and then you and I watched quarter one from one roof, and quarter two from inside, and quarter three from the Majestic Plaza, and then quarter four back in the box. So we were all over the stadium, got every view of it. But fascinating result to be sure. I don't know if you and I were kind of both on that we thought Montana was going to win. I don't know if we thought they were going to roll by 4 touchdowns.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you tell me 34-7, I probably am not quite that big on it, but we said pregame, you can say it's on the record, double-digit victory for the Griz, and it turned out to be that. But it didn't turn out to be just that. I thought Montana looked the best that I have seen them look this season, bar none, including the Idaho game. I mean, they were very good in the Idaho game, but so was Idaho, and it was a very close game that they kind of held on to at the end and on the road, so credit to them. Then they played a non-team in Northern Colorado. I will say, from what I saw, and again, it's not like I've been watching Sacramento State week in and week out, but if they're the fourth best team in the Big Sky Conference, they're alone in fourth. And we've been talking about kind of the top 4 teams in the Big Sky. It's the top 3 teams, and then it's Sacramento State, and then it might be kind of everybody else. And they're good. I thought I didn't understand the game plan, especially offensively, when they came out.
Two quarterbacks seemed so forced.
It did, and they were doing such a good job just running the ball. I mean, right. 9 was just blasting people. Barely got any touches the last, after really the first drive of the game. So I thought it was kind of odd in that way. And again, I just don't understand it. Doesn't mean it wasn't. I mean, I'm not a coach. I'm always reticent to criticize coaching because there's so much that goes into it. And this is their guys' profession. They're spending however many hours a day, but just sitting there watching, you go, well, I don't know, man. Are we overcomplicating this thing a little bit? And maybe so for Sacramento State. That said, I mean, 34-0 is the final score from the 10-minute mark on, right. Or whatever, after that first score. And Montana was absolutely dominant. And after, I thought I saw Clifton McDowell play his worst game as a starter, in which Brian Aiyuk came in against Northern Colorado. I thought he played absolutely lights out in this football game. Far and away, his best game is as a Grizzly. He's had some good ones, but he was diming people up everywhere, including the long ball, some touch throws across the middle, standing in there, running when he needed to. I mean, I'm sure he missed a pass or two. But as I reflect in my memory on the game, he just didn't miss. He was absolutely phenomenal, and it's a huge credit to him. And Bobby Hauck stands alone on top of the heap when it comes to all-time conference or all-time wins as a head coach in the Big Sky Conference. And congratulations to him. And I must say, in his return, his second stint at the University of Montana. At this moment in time, this is his best coaching job so far. It just is. I mean, I thought it was going to be his worst coaching job so far when we opened conference play. Right. And the fact that this thing has turned all the way around. And if you've listened to this podcast the last couple of weeks, I've been talking about Montana kind of being a little bit of a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. We've seen them be really good. We've seen them be really bad. We've just seen them be the best they've been at a time in the season when generally they have not been. If you look at Bobby Hauck's teams these last 4 or 5 years, they have been just over 500 the last halves of seasons. And they have been I think they're 18-3 in the first half of the season, the aggregate these last 4 years coming into this season, 5 years, I guess. And now here we are 2 weeks left in the year. They're playing their best football of the year. They're on a plane with the best football that's being played in the country now, I think you have to say. And that was as dominant and outstanding a win as I've seen it out of a Grizzly football team in a very long time.
Think you stop me, I'm all the way up. All the way up. I'm all the way up. I'm all the way up. Nothing can stop me, I'm all the way up. Shorty what you want, shorty what you need. My niggas run game, we ain't never leave. Counting up this money, we ain't never sleeping. Got V12s, I got 12 V's. Got bottles, got weed, got Molly. I'm all the way up. Shorty what you want, I got what you need. Shorty what you want, I got what you need.
I think that one moment can sort of sum up or symbolize the departure from the past, but also the flexibility that they've showed this year, which is new compared to what I mean. One of the biggest reasons why the Griz were so frustrating to watch and cover was you could see that they still have talent. They have an outstanding head coach, but he was refusing to adjust in certain ways. Now they adjust all the time. But I thought that was most simply displayed by when Clifton McDowell threw the terrible pick down by the end zone. And rather than freak out or bench him or pull him or whatever, left him in there, and then they get pinned down by the 3-yard line. Or they get pinned on the 1, and then they get it out to the 3, and then they take a shot up the sideline, and they hit a 97-yard touchdown. Now, what time in Bobby Hauck's 179 games as the head coach, or 159 games, I guess, as the head coach at Montana, would he have taken a shot right there? Never. He never would have. He would have said, we're going to run the ball 3 times. If we get a first down, we'll keep going. If we don't, we're going to punt it. We're going to kick your ass on the other side. That's what we're going to do. But instead,
and they're already up 3 scores at that moment. I mean, it's not like they need something to happen,
right.
really.
They were up 2 at the moment, but then they go for the jugular.
Yeah,
yeah. But that was the moment where they just slammed the door in Sac State's face, and I just think that that's just a symbolic departure from what we've seen in the past. I think that's such a huge step in progress, and I think that's why this team has gotten better as the season's gone along.
Yeah, and I mean, look, here's the thing. Everybody's trying to analyze, well, what's the quarterback situation going on with the Grizzlies? And Bobby Hauck's been, pretty, fist on the table, pound the table, 2-quarterback system, yada, yada. And it's, this guy, it's that guy. Then it's, McDowell, and then it's just McDowell. Then it's McDowell and Ayat looks great. And so for sure it's going to be 2 quarterbacks. And 100% all this is, and I'm convinced of this, is just the leveraging of media and conversation to just throw the scent off for the next opponent. And however much that can happen, I don't really know. Is, Andy Thompson and the Sacramento State staff checking in on local media reports? I don't know. I mean, maybe they're watching the press conference or something like that. I don't know how that goes. But none of this stuff is like above board or straightforward. Like these are just games that are being played, and that's okay. I mean, a lot of coaches do that. I suppose at some level. Whether, the fact that Clifton McDowell played the entire game and was pretty clearly, I mean, he played great, so there's no real reason to bring him out, but also it didn't look like there was any point at which there was a consideration. Like, it looked like he was just going to be the guy, and he certainly was that the entire game. I don't know. So that kind of stuff is what it is, but you are right, man. Like the departure from what the norm or what the standard would always have been, and you hit a play like that. I mean, who would have thought that, the biggest offensive touchdown in the history of the Montana Grizzlies would come with Bobby Hauck as the head coach? But here we are, and that's exactly what happened. And it didn't just happen. It happened in a situation in which it never happens, to your point, like on a 3rd down, like bomb attempt up the sideline. And I mean, on one hand, what better place than to catch him? And again, a great route and a spectacular throw. I mean, just right over the top of the defender's shoulder and in there going up the sideline. And I mean, that's it. And that's all. So congratulations for the Grizzlies. And, everybody's, everybody, but many people I'm sure have seen, the video of Bobby Hauck leaping up and body surfing on his team in the locker room after the game, celebrating and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes, how can I say this? whenever Bobby Hauck does stuff like that, like when he's gotten the team together and done like the jump around at the start of the fourth quarter thing and all of that kind of stuff, I want to be. It feels forced when Bobby Hauck does it, but I wouldn't say that it feels contrived. If that makes any sense at all, like
it totally
I don't think
you want to know why it feels. Want to know why it feels forced?
Because he's not he doesn't seem like he's
forcing himself to do this
to have fun.
Yeah, he's forcing himself to do this, and he's never done it before.
He's
so it's not as if you're right. It's not contrived. It's a perfect.
It's not natural. It's not natural, but it's not disingenuous.
I think that's one thing that you could say.
That's how I feel about it.
That's one thing you can say about this season too, though, is I think that not having his son around anymore and having one of his mentors, Terry Donahue, longtime UCLA coach, pass away, and having multiple other coaches that got him into coaching retire and be not around it anymore. And then he becomes the all-time wins leader. And who does he pass? The guy who gave him his first college job in Jerome Sowers. I think it puts things into perspective. And I think he was like, oh my gosh, I've been a head college coach for 20 years and I've been coaching college football for 40. It's getting close to being done for me. I got to figure out a way to have some fun. And so I think he's making an effort to have fun. And I do think it's funny because it does seem a little bit, he just doesn't really know how to do that kind of stuff. But I think that the enjoyment of it is fully authentic.
No, and I guess that's what I'm trying to get at is that I'm not saying he's pretending. It's just a little bit of a fish out of water, is what it is. That said, if the players are loving it and they look like they're loving it, like if you watch the dudes, like they seem like they're having a great time, and it's such a far cry from what we witnessed on the field against Northern Arizona. And you go, what happened? Like, what changed? What is that? What? And I don't know if we'll ever know this is some off-season, find the graduating seniors in-depth reporting. I'm putting this on your journalism plate, Colter, to go do some research and find this out, because this is such a stark and interesting contrast of teams where, we see in the NFL, the Raiders were not coming back with Josh McDaniels being there. And they go and clean house, and Mark Davis wrote an apology to the team for hiring him. I've never heard of it, ever. He paid him $86 million, him and the GM, $86 million he owes them still to leave, and wrote an apology to the team because it went that badly. And we got one game of that for the University of Montana. And it wasn't just a bad game performance-wise. It was a quit. It was a straight up walk off the field. Literally walked off the field, couple of dudes out. And I went, that's it, that's all. It's done. And now it's the club in the locker room after the game, and we're popping champagne and smoking cigars and throwing the coach on our shoulder. What is going on? And it's great. I think that is the way it should be. It should be fun, man. It's such hard work to be a coach, to be an athlete at the Division I level. So party, man. Like, when it's time to party, when you've done something like this, enjoy the heck out of it. And it helps the more when the head of the whole outfit, who never does this, is leading the charge on this stuff. The running down in Idaho, hand in the air. He's the only guy on the field, doesn't even know. Nobody's out there with him. Yeah. And he's just out there doing it. So I got to say, I tip my cap to Coach Hauck for sort of taking himself a little less seriously in those moments. He certainly is taking himself plenty seriously. No question about that. But, in general, in these spots, and I think it translates. I really do. And I feel like somebody got a hold of him and said, hey, man, like, if not for you to have fun, at least to make your team better, because they're not going to, respond. I don't know. So it's really interesting. And all that said, they got a hell of a football team playing their best ball of the season, maybe their best ball as a whole team since Bobby Hauck's returned right now with 2 weeks to go in the entire year. It's unbelievable.
At Blackfoot Communications, our mission is to connect people, businesses, and communities, bringing a world-class fiber network to homes, communities, and businesses of all sizes. Ensures Montanans have access to fast, reliable, and secure internet and phone services. Are you ready for fiber internet? To find out if fiber is coming to your area, visit goblackfoot.com/readyforfiber. Connect to more with Blackfoot Communications.
It is unbelievable. And I think that so much of it goes to those seniors. And we've talked about that a lot before, but like you think of when he rushed the field at Idaho, the first picture Blake Hempstead got, he's surrounded by like the 8 most important seniors on his team. So they knew exactly what he was trying to do and they followed him. That's very symbolic of like the leadership of the moment, right? Same thing when he runs in the locker room. Who's standing there waiting to catch him? Braxton Hill and Levi Janicaro, like his 2 captains, like they're ready to be a part of the fun time.
Now, I believe that was a second or third run up though. Like they were ready for it. You know what I mean? I think they had to get all ready for that. But yeah, that's true. They're all there.
Only a couple of minutes left here on Tuesday with Tootells.
Yeah.
I mean, we want this collision course to culminate, and now we're 1 week away from it culminating. Eastern Washington's in Bozeman. Montana's at Portland State. There's literally no feasible world in which Montana State loses to Eastern Washington this weekend. I'm just going to say point blank period, just because of the matchup. I mean, Montana State's going to run for as many yards as they want. On senior day, they're going to run for 450 yards and just pile it all the way up on Eastern Washington. The Griz at Portland State, I mean, there maybe is an element of it. I mean, the Griz are only 12.5-point favorites going out there to Hillsboro. I don't know. I mean, I still don't think this. I think that the trap game narrative is sort of realistic, but I don't think it is, just because I think this Griz team is above that right now, and I just think the collision course is going to culminate. What do you think?
Well, I can't sit here and do all the screaming that I've done here and breaking a sweat yelling about how great and wonderful the Grizzlies are right now and then pick against them. After what I've seen this last 2 weeks, I can't, and I think you'd be insane to pick against Montana in this football game. That being said, I've had this Portland State game circled for 2 months for the Grizzlies to be in trouble because 2 reasons. One, it's the last game before the game. It's a road game in a 0 atmosphere high school stadium. And if you want to look back at where Montana's had big letdowns, it's in these 200 fans in the crowd kind of deal. And it's better than that there for Portland State, but it's not great. And the other reason, and I don't know how many Griz fans really understand this is a monster game. This is the Super Bowl for Portland State. They have to have it. They got life, but they have to have this. And this is a program making type of game for them to have a look at the postseason, and for Jerome Sowers and obviously Robbie Hauck Bruce Barnum, and with Robbie Hauck on the staff over there, this is it. And so they are going to be coming for the Montana Grizzlies. And by the way, Portland State's a pretty good football team. Like, they're not great, but they're not terrible. And they are going to have something for Montana. But the way that the Griz are rolling right now, I think they're absolutely feeling it. And I don't think that they're going to have a letdown going into Montana State for that very reason. Like, they know that they can't do that. I think they're going to be on guard against that. And with as good as it's going right now for the Montana Grizzlies, I expect them to come out with a hard-fought but decisive victory in Hillsboro.
Well, let's make it an hour next week then. It's going to be a great time.
Love it.
I got to run, but good to see you, buddy. Thanks for bearing with me while I get through this throat thing, and we'll see you next week. Can't wait.
Can't wait.
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Run down